Good morning.
You're so weird.
Why?
Because it's 7 o'clock p.m. and
There's people that actually are just now getting up to go to work.
you're still weird.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I'm always
Everybody
weird.
will agree with me.
It's okay.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
What's
Happy
going
St.
on?
Patty's Day.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I seen a whole bunch of people on the news earlier that were celebrating your birthday.
Yeah, and we were in Conway today, and believe it or not,
It's like the whole world dressed up for your birthday.
we had a guy ask us, why is so many people wearing green today? Like, he was dead serious.
Some folks ain't with it.
And I was like, do you live under a rock? It's St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, every year. Every year. I know for at least 45 years.
So, we
Thank
got
you,
Mr.
Helen.
Mark Calhoun in here. We're going to talk about a little bit of Greers Ferry A&P. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good. So, I think A&P is one of those things we've tried to do a show, and like Jesse was saying earlier, the one and only time that we tried to do it, our internet went out, so we wasn't able to really talk about it much. So we're going to try to get it out there tonight. But A&P stands for
Advertising and promotion.
for
The city of Greers Ferry.
the city of Greers Ferry. So, for those of y'all that don't know, I've been on the A&P for several years now. I've been one of the no votes on a lot of things.
Well, hang on.
But no, I'm just going to put it out there.
No, but don't jump off too fast.
Oh,
Mark now has just, in the last month, 2
well,
months,
that's how I was going to bring him in as the new guy.
taken. No, we're not throwing him to the wolves. When did you take, like, as chairman of A&P
January 1st.
Of this year.
of this year?
Yes.
With a whole list of other things that you also took on, but
All of 2.5 months now.
yikes.
You are kind of a glutton for punishment.
I love it. I'll say
Yes.
this, though. If it wasn't something that I thought was good for the city, I wouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, when Crystal and I bought the inn a couple of years ago, we were asked once we took it over, if we wanted to join it. And so I joined it, and, served on the committee for, or commission for, up until January 1st of this year. And I was asked to take the lead on it because the former lead took off to another city.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, if it wasn't something that I thought benefited the city, then I wouldn't be doing it. I mean, just like everybody, I hate taxes. I don't want to pay taxes. But this is a good tax, and I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this with you guys is because I want everybody to understand what this tax is for, and even more importantly, where the tax comes from, who pays the tax. And the residents of this city largely do not pay it. So 99.5% of the tax comes from people from out of town.
And the reason tourism is, anybody that don't understand why tourism here is important, from Memorial Weekend to Labor Day weekend, tourism is great. But winters are long.
Yep.
Once the streets roll up and the sidewalks get put up and the lights go out, it's a long time to Memorial Weekend again.
That's right.
And
Got half the year basically where especially businesses just struggle.
yeah.
Keep the doors open.
And so when it's not skiing and boating and wakeboarding and all the things season, and it's what we consider the off season here in Greers Ferry,
Yep.
we need a way to figure out how to get people to come in the off season. Unfortunately, it takes some dollars and cents.
Yep.
You got to be able to pay for something, advertise something
Well,
to draw a crowd.
that was fixing to be my question. Is I understand advertising and promotion for Greers Ferry, but what is the goal for A&P
So for example, we had a fishing tournament that used to come here. They quit coming here because for whatever reason, I don't know if the call didn't come through or the ball just got. I don't know. They're not blaming anybody. Life happens, but we weren't able to donate to their fishing tournament one time, and so we lost them for like 2 years coming out of Devil's Fort. And I'm sorry, but that tournament happens in the spring before Memorial Weekend. It's a good boost to all the local businesses to have all these folks come to town. And when we drop the ball, because we can't help them, and they go somewhere else, that's a couple hundred people in town that we lost.
And the thing is, what you're saying, they're still coming to Greers Ferry Lake. Mm-hmm. They're just going to Clinton or to Fairfield Bay or to Heber Springs, and those communities are reaping the benefits of it.
Correct.
Particularly in the late winter and early spring, when our businesses wouldn't be getting a whole lot of dollars coming in. And so if we can provide those funds that'll attract them to come in, then that benefits all the businesses here.
Yeah. So not only the hotels and the restaurants, but the boutiques and the little shopping, so basically everything.
Dollar store.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
Gas stations. They all do better. Everybody does great in the summer, like you said, but those winters,
they're long. So we had a guy approach us 2 years ago, and it's not the first time that it's come up. And I'd like to get him in here for one of these shows and let him kind of explain how that works, because it's a tournament. And the amount of money it took just to get your name in the hat, because he wanted to bring this fishing tournament here. And it was going to be a pile of folks, not counting the people that put the tournament together, the wives, the kids, the on and on and on. I mean, it's like a huge, huge deal. And just to get your name in the hat, to even be considered to be the boat ramp they use, was thousands of dollars. But if you could get that many people here in October, which is when that tournament is, I mean, that's pretty big bang for heading into Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
But we can't do it without money. You got to have money.
So, which leads me into my question as what can we as the community do to help A&P to help us get those bigger tournaments in here?
Well, that's what we're pushing out. Well, actually, this is the third time now in a row, third month in a row that I brought it up to the city council. So the A&P, for everyone that doesn't know, it was voted on and passed back in 2008. So this ordinance has been in place for 18 years. However, it's just, I don't know how it was done. As back in 2008, but maybe it was done, pushed out to everybody, and then it kind of slacked off. I don't know. But now it's to the point where you've got 2 hotels in town and 3 or 4 Airbnbs that are paying in regularly, and that's it. And I know there's a lot more Airbnbs in town than 3 or 4. So that's the main thing is if you've only got a couple businesses, I mean, right now we're getting requests from some of these bass tournaments to donate money for prize money to attract more fishermen, that type of stuff. And we're having to, we can approve it, but we have to push it out a month or 2 to pay them because we don't have enough money in the bank. And I'm not talking about large sums of money. I'm talking
Right.
Yeah, they're not big numbers.
$500, and we should have that if everybody's paying their share. So the ordinance states that all Airbnbs within the city limits and all hotels, any business that has overnight accommodations less than 30 days are supposed to pay into the, and again, when I say the business is supposed to pay in, they're supposed to collect the 2% tax
And then,
from, and most of this is from out of towners. It's not locals. You're collecting the tax from the tourists, and then you take that 2% and you just turn it over to the city and give it to them, and that goes into the A&P fund, and then we can use that to promote the city, to bring, and not just fishing.
Right.
Last year we donated $1,500 to the fireworks display for the city, just to help out there.
But we do talk about fishing a lot, just simply because that is the big draw at this time. But I mean, we can't even try to expand our reach beyond fishing right now, because hey, we got a couple of pennies we can rub together if you want to come support our town.
Yep.
And so right now we just take what's kind of presented to us rather than trying to fish for something outside of fishing.
Yeah.
so to kind of ask a question in what you were saying. So is that bridge to bridge, or does that include Greers Ferry, Edgemont, and Higdon? Just Greers Ferry.
Greers Ferry city limits.
Okay.
And it's a permit, which would be separate from a business license.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a business license.
Because that was always one of my things too. That on my nays, I don't want it to be something that's split with the city. The city gets their own money. If we're asking for A&P money, I want it to be A&P money.
Right.
So, and that's one of the things that we've tried to push these last couple of months is, and right now it's a city ordinance, a requirement that all businesses have to buy a business license annually. So it's $50 for that license. You guys have to do it. I've got to do it. My wife and I actually have 3 businesses, so we have to pay the $50 plus 25 for the other 2. And so we do that, and that money goes, now the one from the inn, that should be going into the A&P. It has not prior to now.
Well, because it's never been
Correct.
asked to be done this way.
Separated.
Yep. And so at least that money will go in. So all the folks that own Airbnbs are supposed to, up to this point, should have had at least a business license. And so that's what we're going to do, is at least get those funds going into the A&P where it belongs, and that'll help us out.
Okay. So I may be confused just a little bit. So with what you just said, okay. So if I, using me as an example, have an Airbnb, so am I buying a business license, or am I buying a permit, or paying for a permit, and then pay in my tax, the tax that is collected to the A&P?
You're both. So you're no longer purchasing a business license.
Okay.
It's still a $50 fee, just like a business license. But the reason we're calling it something, and I think we landed on permit license, but that should be finalized this next council meeting coming up. So it's the $50 fee, and so that was just going into the city general fund because it was a business license. So we wanted to make sure it was separated. Gotcha. And that way that money comes in the A&P account and does not go into the general fund.
Gotcha.
And then other than that, whenever you're renting out your Airbnb, you have to add 2% to whatever you're already charged for your gross receipts.
Right.
And then you fill out a form. We're working on, Tristan, the treasurer for the city, is working on making this electronic where you can go in and file online and not have to deal with the paper form. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's got it quite complete yet, but that'll help a lot. But you're supposed to fill out a form every month, and we're not asking you to supply your gross revenue. You don't have to give us, hey, I made 10 grand this month.
So
You just have to put down what the taxes you collected and then write that check to the city.
So will that check go to the city, or will it go to A&P?
Goes to A&P.
A&P. Gotcha. Okay. I was just letting all your words confuse my little pea brain.
Well, but I mean, I understand why it can be confusing. It's been confusing for a long time, and again,
Well,
no fault to anybody.
No, but that's
It's just it is what it is.
yeah,
But that's why we wanted to do this show,
Yeah.
and
Awareness.
yeah,
yeah.
and we want to make a habit of it.
Yep.
To try to keep people informed on. We try to meet once a month. Sometimes there's not anything going on or nothing to talk about, but once a month typically, and it's typically before the city council meeting when we're walking out, they're walking in.
Yep.
But we're going. I think you and I talked, and we're going to try to do this at least once a quarter.
Yeah.
To
Kind of give an update on what we've been doing, and especially if we come up with some, if we can get the money in the bank, we can come up with all kinds of things that we can do with it to promote the city, to bring that many more tourists into town.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but I know when I lived in East Arkansas, some of the guys I worked with, they played some kind of softball every weekend. They was groups of them were loading up and going somewhere and playing softball.
Like adults.
Yeah, and I want to say it was called travel ball, but nowadays even your little kids and everything else are playing.
Yeah, they
so
play
I
travel
really don't
ball.
know what it's called, so I don't want to get myself in trouble there. But we have a super nice park, city park.
Yep.
And Mike works. All the guys work really hard on that park, and it looks amazing.
Wouldn't it be nice to be able to contact one of these? I don't know if they're leagues. I don't know what they are. I can find out if we ever have money to talk to them about it. Yeah. But hey, what would it take to get y'all to come do a 2-day tournament at Greers Ferry?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just anything. But we got to have more than 2 pennies to rub together.
Yep. That's right.
So
I just like the fact that, for one, because there again, I can only speak for myself. I had no idea what A&P was. I didn't even know A&P was a thing. And then I don't know how you got suckered into to being on the committee.
they needed a warm body.
And then, like I said, the one time the previous chair was in, our internet was down and it wasn't working. And so there's so many people that don't even know that any city has an A&P and what A&P even means.
Right.
So
And the flip side of it is everywhere that I would be willing to bet almost anywhere they go, they're already participating in it. They just don't know it.
right. Right.
And you're paying that tax. So when citizens from here you go to Fairfield Bay, you're paying into their A&P. I guarantee you, and they're probably charging the restaurants as well. We talked about this just a little bit ago. So the state of Arkansas established this, just to be clear, and so they kind of pushed it out to all the municipalities and the counties and said, hey, here's an A&P tax if you want to promote tourism in your city to kind of generate revenue, that type of stuff. And so that's kind of how it got started. But with that law, they authorized what we're doing. So Airbnbs and hotel taxes, and that's a tourism tax. And you mentioned earlier a hamburger tax, right, that everybody has become familiar with. So that would include also all the restaurants collecting that tax. And that was an option back in 2008 when the city council voted on that. And I think the city council probably did the right thing because they were basically shielding the residents of the city from having to pay 2% more when they go get a burger or they go to the Mexican restaurant or Bentley's or whatever. They don't have to pay that. Now, it would create a lot of revenue in that A&P fund for sure, but I think that's what they were looking at is we don't want to charge our residents the 2%.
Right.
The tourists to pay it. And we just don't have a huge, like I said, I don't know how many Airbnbs there are in town, but I know there's a lot. And so if everybody would just jump on board, it is a law. It's a requirement. And don't want to be pushy about it, but the bottom line is everybody should be paying into it. Again, you're not paying anything, you're collecting and just
Right.
Passing it on.
Yeah. Let the tourists pay it
Right. And we use it to promote and advertise our city.
Yep.
Because, I mean, we've got a few on here that are agreeing they had no idea what A&P was.
Which is totally fair.
Absolutely. And that's what I told them. That's exactly why we want to do this and keep doing it, to get it out there. And then Kayla said she looked on it. AI says there's 46 total in town.
46.
That's
So we may be getting 10%, of them paying in. Maybe.
Yeah.
And actually, since January, I don't know what there was I don't want to call out rental companies, but there was a company that was collecting it and sending it the money in, but it was, I don't know, for 2 or 3 Airbnbs. So it's really dropped off since the first of the year. And, I'm sure there's not a whole lot of rentals going on right now, but there's got to be some.
right.
Right. So I wonder, and this outside looking in, and y'all may have already talked about it, but and I hate to even say this, but how the county assessor, they send us I don't want to call it a statement, but they send us a thing every year. Okay.
Oh yeah, if any of you girls are listening, I love y'all, but
But I'm not going that deep with it.
I am.
But you know how they send us a statement and whatever. So I wonder if A&P could kind of do the same thing, but not like a statement, but just kind of like an announcement of, A&P important. If you are running an Airbnb, whatever, we are by city ordinance to collect a 2%.
I mean, I would say don't even do it as mentioned in the city ordinance. I mean, it's the simple fact of the matter is from Labor Day weekend to Memorial weekend, this place is a ghost town, and we all want tourism. Period. We need some.
Well, just
Help us help each other.
yeah, and just so you know, we've talked about that. Just coming up with a form letter that says,
Yeah.
"Dear homeowner,
Yeah.
just make you aware there's a law for this A&P tax, and explain it." The problem is, I don't know how many homes there are in Greers Ferry.
A lot.
Yeah, 500. I don't know. There's 800 and some odd people, right? 830 or some people in town. So there's got to be 300 or 400, 500 homes, right? So we'd have to send a letter really to every home, because I don't know which ones are Airbnbs, unless they've got a sign out front, and most of them don't.
Right.
So we have to figure out a way. And here's another thing. So a lot of the owners of these Airbnbs live out of town. You can't mail it to the house here. You have to find their mailing address and send it. And Tristan actually, we were working through it, and Tristan actually figured out how much it was going to cost for the envelope, the tack, or the stamp on it.
It ain't
the
cheap.
Paper to print them, and it ain't cheap.
Yeah.
So we're going to work on something on social media first of all, just to kind of blast it out on Facebook and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why. This is, we're not trying, and it's not like we're trying to go back 10 years and say, oh, you owe us back pay. You haven't been paying.
Right. Just from this day
But,
forward.
yeah, exactly. And so we're shooting for a June 1st date.
Okay.
It gives us a little room to get all this done. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to tackle it all. But Kayla, if you can give me addresses on those 46 or whatever.
Yeah, she asked AI.
Yeah, that is the tough part. I mean, and that exactly what you're saying. You can send it to the address that you have, but it may be 6 months before they get it.
Well, we had a little cabin we rented out on Airbnb. It was out in the county, wasn't in Greers Ferry, but we didn't have a mailbox there because we didn't want mail coming. And so if they had mailed it there, it would never come to us.
Yeah,
if
we
you look on public record, if you go back and look and go to the assessor's office, they can give you the mailing address, but you wouldn't know it was an Airbnb.
yeah. That's the thing. If you can get the addresses, if you can get the locations, the addresses can be gotten.
And so,
Okay,
and
listen.
maybe that's something there too. If we, when we put it out on social media, if you have a neighbor that is renting their house as Airbnb, and I mean, you don't want to feel like you're snitching them out or whatever, but the bottom line is, again, they're not paying the tax. The people staying there are paying the tax.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not like a tax you're thinking of, man, they're going to cost us more money.
And it's not a huge I mean, yes, it's $50 permit, but then when you think about the 2%, I mean that's.
Yeah.
And it's not a 2% that you're paying, but that
I stay at places that have larger cleanup fees than that.
right. But that leads me to a question. Okay, so you were saying if your neighbor is okay. How does that work for people that, and I may be asking this totally off. I own an Airbnb, but I don't live here at all. How does
You operate a business here, so you need a permit.
okay? But that takes me. Okay, never mind. Forget my question because I think I just answered it myself. It puts you in a different. Yeah, never mind. Never mind.
You seen it here. She thought it through on live.
Yeah. And Kayla does make a very good point. She said, just ask Greers Ferry locals. They'll tell on themselves.
I had a thought and it went plumb out of my.
Okay,
and I
so
think-
wait a minute. So this is going to kind of make you repeat yourself, but I think it's important. It says the problem is to having to submit monthly financial statements. That is going to see court. You're not asking for financials.
Correct. So again, we touched on this a little bit ago. So
Right.
that monthly statement that we're asking for does not ask how much money you made, how much money you brought in. It's basically, you can just call it on the honor system, right? You're having to go into ATAP and report your finances there. We don't see that, okay? But the 2% tax will show up there, and you bring that tax to us. And the form that we ask you to fill out doesn't ask for, hey, how much did you make?
Right.
How much tax did you collect? That's what we want to know.
That's
and
it.
And then you write a check for us. Now, the monthly part, I've heard people say that's too often. Well, the law, and I may be a little off here, but I went back and looked at it. But the Arkansas law says that you will file the tax just like you do your gross receipts tax, which is that ATAP deal. So most of it's monthly. Unless you don't make much money, then they cut it back to quarterly. And then you can even go to yearly if you're not making much money at all. So officially, I guess you could follow that and say, well, we're going to file it quarterly if that's what you're doing. But most Airbnbs are going to be monthly.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it's managed by VRBO or Airbnb or Evolve, that's what we're trying to get them to take
To
that
do.
tax. Yes, to push the tax out
And
collect
submit
that
it.
and send it to us.
Okay.
And if you have a rental management company, you can ask them to do it. It'd probably make it a lot easier on you because they'd be the ones filling out the form and sending it to us. So,
Yeah, and there's nothing there's nothing nowhere asking as far as for
Nothing.
the Greers Ferry A&P. There's nothing out there that's going to be asking how much money did you make this month.
Correct.
Yeah, no, and that's not the goal. I'm sorry, David. I'm not sure I understand what is not much money. Which part?
Is he talking about for the monthly to the quarterly?
Well, he asked the first one about the problem is having to submit the monthly financials, and then he came back and said, "What is not much money?"
Well, I think I said that it's monthly unless you're not making much money, and then they push
Okay.
it. And
Okay,
I don't
that
know
may
what that
be-
is. That's the state of Arkansas. So when you file your gross receipts, which is it's always going to start out monthly. That's what ATAP does, and then if you're making, and I don't know what the threshold is, but just say if you're making, reporting less than $500 every 3 months or something, they're probably going to send you a letter and say, hey, you can start, submitting yours once every quarter.
So ATAP is something that rentals do?
Well,
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
A lot of businesses do. Arkansas, it's some kind of tax, and I can't remember what it's called, but when you go in and you do your monthly reports, you're having to tell them what you made, and so they collect your tax from you monthly or quarterly or yearly, depending on your income.
I just trust my tax man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't know what ATAP is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Understand.
So did that help you, David, with your question? Because I think that's what he was
And
talking
I think
on when you were.
like I said, Tristan's working on getting this thing electronic, and so that would help a lot of people who wants to fill out a paper form and either carry it up here to the city or mail it, put a stamp on it every time. So I know he's working on it, and I think he's close to getting it to where you can fill it out electronically. You'll be able to use a credit card or debit card or bank account, whatever, to pay electronically and be done with it.
And that may settle a whole lot of things. I mean, once it's actually live and people can just get on there and look at it and read it.
Yeah.
Oh, it actually says nothing about how much did you make this month. Report this number, report that number. Did you collect any tax, yes or no? How much? Thank you.
Yep.
Arkansas taxpayer assess point.
There you go.
Your
Sounds
wife. Your wife just saved you on
Well, I
that
knew
one.
she would know. She's the one that does it for us.
Fair enough.
So, and that's why I'm glad you came in to explain it, because, okay, first off, I was trying to listen on city council, trying to watch it online. It's hard.
Yep.
And so I will be honest, I wasn't understanding how it was going in really what was being asked.
Yep.
But now you sitting in here and explaining it, I'm like, oh, okay. We're not paying anything.
Correct.
We are not paying anything. And the property owner is not paying anything
Correct.
other than their permit.
Right.
The 2% tax is coming from that person or persons that is renting your property for 24 hours, a whole week, or
We
whatever.
don't have any of them out by the hour situations.
No, we're not that kind of city.
Tone it down over there, sister. But
Yes, but VRBO and Airbnb already deducts local taxes. Are you all saying they are not remitting the funds?
Well, they do collect local taxes, but we haven't confirmed that they're taking out the extra 2%. So there's a local tax, there's a county tax, there's a state tax, and Tristan actually had a meeting with them recently. I think it was Airbnb. But he's reached out to both. That's the two largest ones. He's reached out to both of them. I know that Evolve was actually taking the 2% and sending it separately. They're filling out the form for their ones they manage and sending a check in. Now, I don't know if they only have 3 or 4 in town and the other ones are being managed by other
I
companies.
don't think
or
it's
whatever.
as known as Airbnb.
But that could be a fair question. I mean, our is like and maybe Tristan will get the answer soon enough. But
He's already sent them letters.
yeah, you know, I say the city tax is 3%, but they're charging 5% on the city tax, and 2% is supposed to be coming. They may be doing that, and that's not something we can answer.
Yep.
We know it's not getting the A&P.
Right, exactly. So it's coming.
Yeah.
You know, it's
And
just,
we don't have all the answers right now
Correct.
because, like you said, Tristan
trying to
sent
get
out.
arms around this thing.
It's like herding chickens. Yeah. So
But I do want to say thank you to everybody that's watching and listening, everybody that's taking their time to tune in with us.
Share it with your friends and let them know we're not taxing.
Right.
You know, this is, and it's been in place for a long time. It's just
you're most welcome, sir.
we're missing out on some revenue as a city where we could be promoting and having our businesses make more money and, you know, where they can afford to stay open. You know, I know folks that have been here for a long time. I've seen a lot of businesses come and go, you know, shut down, especially in the wintertime. And so this would go a long way to help that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've even been known to help the chamber with some. I mean, whatever anybody is doing that is bringing people here,
we need to.
that's
Yeah.
we
that's
need
what
to
we're trying
help
to advertise and promote.
Yep. Yes.
And that's how we want to keep it where we don't have to try to push to the restaurants. We don't want the locals to pay this tax. Let the ones that are coming and visiting pay. That's, you know, and I think it was I can't remember what it might have been you talking about you hear every once in a while if you listen to the local radio you'll hear people this ad was sponsored by the Fairfield Bay A&P Commission. We don't have the money to do that right now.
Right.
You know, but that's what you want is to have that money to advertise these events and do different things. And we can get there. And I honestly believe if there's 46 rentals in this city, I honestly believe 80-90% of them are just if they know about it, they're voluntarily just going, oh, it's $50, you know, and then I'll
Right.
it and do it. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And the other ones may try to run from it for a minute, you know, but I think they'll come around, especially if they. That's why I wanted to do this too.
Exactly. If they know that, okay, this $50
Yep.
is going to potentially help bring in tournaments, bring in new, you know, off-season entertainment, whatever, anything to keep us going.
Yep. Which supports their business too. Because
Exactly.
they get more people coming into their Airbnb.
Absolutely.
And let me
It's a revolving
make
door.
sure everybody knows. So you mentioned that the $50 comes out of their pocket, but they're already supposed to be buying a business license anyways.
Correct.
I don't think all of them are because they may not know, but that is a law as well. Every business has to have a business license. The only thing we've changed, again, is just the name of, if it's a short-term rental, it's going to be a different name on it, or a hotel. It's going to be a different name on it so that it comes to A&P, which, again, helps support their business instead of going to the general fund of the city.
Yeah, the money that comes in goes directly back out to somebody bringing something here to help the town.
Yep.
It's also the responsibility of the STR owner to notify their management company or VRBO, Airbnb, etc. Does A&P have? Don't shoot me. But does A&P have a website?
No.
I was thinking about that today.
Well, the only reason why I
We
asked
need a
is
Facebook or something.
because Kayla said that like Heber A&P, they advertise on the radio, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
So we ain't there
Yeah,
yet.
we can't afford that.
I
But-
think we'll get there if we get
Yeah.
everybody to participate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, you know, we've got all of these tourists coming in, and we greatly appreciate it, and we love it when they do get here. But to me, in my eyes, this is one way that they can, I don't want to say knowingly support the city.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind, if everybody decides to get on board with it tomorrow, it's not like it's going to make a huge difference next week.
No, it's just like anything else. You've got to grow it. And, like Mark said, bless him. He's only been in here since the 1st of January. And he's already trying to narrow that tunnel and get us to the other side of it. So, yeah, nothing happens overnight.
Well, I mean, sometimes I think people get lost in, you post a picture on Facebook and you get 15 likes and everything's just magic. You know what? This is real life. It ain't Facebook.
Yeah, I thought about doing too, creating an A&P page on Facebook. I don't know how much interest there'd be in it, but again, just to provide updates on what we're doing and how it's coming along. So.
And I also want to give Troy and Tristan a shout out for helping us get on the tournament page. So I'm throwing us both under the bus. Y'all ain't updated just because y'all ain't sending us stuff to update it with.
Got a cleanup day going Thursday.
Cleanup day going Thursday. All right, I need to post that.
Yeah, it's going to be the West Side anglers that are going to come help with that, get some community service hours.
Do you need a trailer? Do you need?
I think we're good. Honestly, I think that we did a little bit of cleanup ourselves 2 weeks ago, and I think really it's just a matter of pulling everything out, cleaning it up, and then reorganizing everything, get it ready to go. But we're close.
I'll tell you something cool that if we could ever get there at some point. Of course, it's going to take money, but having internet at there. Where we could do,
I think we've actually discussed that, haven't we, in chamber?
Where we could do live weigh-ins.
Yeah, that'd be good, especially for the larger tournament.
Yeah, I know. Like when Flanagan come in and done a show like a year or two ago, we had talked about it because he was asking, "Can you come down there and do live?" I was
I
like,
have to do like a Starlink or something.
well, yes, probably. I've got that ordered for here.
We're working on
So,
that.
and maybe within 2 weeks, I'll have because everybody out there that watches this knows we have internet issues. But maybe in a couple of weeks we'll have
We
some
may be
real
able
life
to try it
experience
out.
with it. Yeah.
But I want to say I do appreciate you coming on and willing to break it down and kind of go into further explanation. Because like I said, I did try to watch it when you were at city council, and it's really hard for me to hear.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
And
it's,
so
it's
I didn't get it.
him standing up there is a very short version of the conversation that happens around the table.
Right, and not being able to give all the details, So I want to say I appreciate you doing this and be willing to come back when there's updates. And
if anybody out there is watching or just now tuning in or whatever, if you go back and watch or whatever, and you have questions, comments, concerns, by all means, put them on there. The comments are not getting turned off.
Yep.
They will be on.
And between Mark and David and anybody else on A&P, somebody will get it
We'll
answered.
do our best to get it caught and get it answered.
Yep.
So.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, like I said, just wanted to kind of push this out. Appreciate y'all hosting it, because I think that there was a lot of misconception about what it was, even from y'all, right?
Yeah.
I think it's something that'll really benefit the city if everybody will get in and just do what they're supposed to do and participate. And I think we'll be able to do some good things for the city. And maybe a few more events that we're not doing now that people might want to see. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's a question that comes up a lot. I mean, what do we do when we get off the lake?
Yeah.
Well, you go home and eat a hot dog and go to bed.
we sit at our Airbnb and gather around the bonfire.
Yeah,
Hint, hint.
but no, thank you,
You bet.
and looking forward to trying to keep this going.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. Transparency is always the best way to do anything.
Well, and there's definitely no secrets here. I mean, I think that if everybody, like I said, if they learn what it's all about and why we're actually doing it, I see how anybody could say it's a bad thing.
Right. Totally agree.
I mean, granted, when Windows 10 went out and Windows 11 came,
Oh God.
there was people that said the same thing. Can't see it's a bad thing. Well, in this moment, I hate it. All right,
Yeah. I mean, how many fists went through a computer screen?
man, I was so lost when Windows 11 happened.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just my little pea brain. Anyway, everybody good?
I if we're good, I was asked to give a shout out. Skatha Lake will be having a food truck, skate ramp, and local music this Saturday night in the park. Food truck is 11 to 8 p.m. Music is 5 to 8 p.m. All are welcome.
Thank you.
She said Saturday will be hot. Come to hang out.
It is supposed to be warm this
Finally
weekend.
getting back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I ain't got my fishing boat no more, so I'm ready for it to warm up.
yeah, no kidding.
But
So Skatha Lake in the park this week, this coming weekend.
the 21st.
Yeah, whatever that is.
All right, gang.
Sweet. Thanks, Mark.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see y'all sometime or another. I guess Thursday.
I guess.